right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live coming at you on a Friday. Mike Carver and Doug Kazarian here with you as we get you ready for tonight's action and plenty of stuff for the weekend. We've got NFL, college football, of course, that we have to dive into as well. Doug, good to see you on a Friday. We made it through a full week here, baby. Feeling good, ready to go tonight. Let's do it.
With you too. My drought in the best bets continues. Wild night. How about the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Well done by them. Really exciting times for Big Blue, the football version of Big Blue Nation, if you will. But yeah, no, a lot to get through. Jammed packed with everything going on right now, and also an awesome college football card as well.
It really is. And no, I did not have the Giants, Doug, almost getting the total by themselves on the bingo card last night. That was stunning. Giants getting in the 30s against the Philadelphia Eagles. Unbelievable. Let's get going for tonight. We are going to get to some NFL, but we'll kick things off, Doug, with the baseball, as we do have a couple of game fives here in the division round before we get to the LCS. Tonight in the American League with Seattle and Detroit. Tomorrow in Milwaukee with the Cubs and the Brewers. Will start, of course, in the AL, where this evening Tarek Skubal will go for the Tigers tonight, minus 120. How about that? Road favorites. George Kirby going even money for the Mariners. Flat 6, Doug. I've even seen 5.5 jump back to flat 6 at BetRivers. Fun game 5. We love these do or die games in the baseball playoffs.
Obviously, this is why you get a guy like Skubal, right? You're in this position. I wonder, not having Woo, if that's really been the difference for the Mariners. And this Tigers team's been, I give them a lot of credit for picking themselves up off the mat, and everyone wrote them off, myself included for the most part, in terms of blowing the division lead. Could we really think they could get it together? But they did. They took care of the Guardians, and that, I think, wiped the slate clean. And this team, the bats are picking their spots carefully. Skubal's an absolute machine. And, it really is remarkable what he's been able to do and just deliver in this regard. But I would say I'm torn here. I think the line's right. For me, it's Tigers or pass. But I think this Mariners team, I still believe in them going to the World Series. And Kirby's going to have to pitch obviously better, but he's the guy you want on the bump if you're not going to have Woo if you're Seattle. So, I mean, gosh, it's kind of like under or nothing. And Mariners, I don't want to bet because you can't bet against Skubal at such a bad price. But that's where I think this game's heading. I really think it's going to be a rock fight all game.
I was trying to find some ways to play this tonight, Doug. And as I'm searching through everything, I love player props. There was one that kind of stuck out to me from the hitter side, but I'm probably going to hold off on it. But I want to do something with Skubal. I didn't want to take the Tigers. I didn't want to take the Mariners. Skubal over 20.5 outs. So obviously you need him to pitch 7 innings. He's pitched 7+ in both of his starts already in the playoffs. And you'd have to think, Doug, the Tigers, they're living and dying with Skubal tonight. They're leaving him out there. I think 7 innings, win, lose, or draw, you're going to get out of him. I think that's the one bet that kind of jumped out to me today, looking at this game in a player standpoint.
I like it. I think that's really smart. I would only, you always, anytime you make any wager, you want to think about, okay, what devil's advocate kind of situation. Detroit's going to have a short leash, right? Like they're not messing around in terms of if things get out of hand. But what would it have to happen for it to kind of get out of hand in by Skubal language, right? Even if he gives up a 2 spot or something, he has to look bad. It has to be, can't just be runs necessarily. It has to look like his velocity's down or something like that. I think that's a really sharp play, Mike. I really do.
Yeah, it's just living and dying with him. And look, last year, I think it was the game 5 against Cleveland, right? He got racked in that game. And he ended up only pitching, I think it was 4 or 5 innings. They gave him a quick hook. But I think this game tonight has that feel. With that total, it's going to be 2-1. It's going to be low scoring. Skubal's going to be able to carry the mail for him as long as he can. BetRivers does have a Friday boost special for you involving Skubal as well. Terrifying Tariq. Skubal to throw 6+ strikeouts in the first 3 innings of Tigers versus Mariners, boosted from +155 to +180. So if you think you get a couple strikeouts out of Skubal there in the early going first 3 innings, BetRivers has you covered with the Friday boost. and just kind of looking ahead before I get to the other game 5, Doug, the winner of this game, you're playing in the Pacific Northwest, Friday night, obviously a little bit of a late start, television, 8 o'clock East, etc. Then got to make the long trip to Toronto, Sunday game 1 ALCS. I know we don't know who it's going to be or numbers, but you give the Blue Jays a nice advantage with this team, with the winner of this playing 5 games here on Friday night.
I would think so. That makes sense. I mean, you can even bet the Blue Jays for the series by betting the pennant, which they are minus $1.39 right now.
Yep.
I'm not sold that the Blue Jays are anything special. Beating the Yankees, so be it. This was a team that I'm just not sold. I think whoever wins this, I think the Tigers are live here, man. I'm surprised. The more I think about it, it's just gonna be tough if you use Scooble game 5. Obviously, he doesn't go game 1, so now you're at an advantage. But it's best of 7, so you can get him a couple times in the series. I'm torn, but there it is smart thinking. Like, do you bet the futures now? Um, I don't see line value anywhere, but it's something to consider. But maybe the dog, like if you want to play the World Series odds or futures
Yeah.
odds in that regard, like the Tigers and Mariners each are plus 275 to win the American League. So it's obviously tonight's money line compounded with series price in the next series. Yeah, I don't think there's an angle there.
Okay. The other game 5 will be tomorrow night in Milwaukee, where after the Cubs get a couple games in Wrigley, they force the 5th game. This will be just after 8 o'clock East. Brewers minus $1.36 at BetRivers, plus 114 for the Cubs. Totals of 7.5. I think the hardest part, Doug, about us talking about this game right now is after last night and both teams, I guess you could say, kind of emptying the tank a bit. I mean, the Brewers went with Peralta, the Cubs did Boyd, and Boyd pitched pretty well, by the way, for the 4 into the 5th inning. We don't know who's starting. We don't know who's going to be available. We don't know which manager is going to go to who. That makes it very challenging, Doug, looking at the Cubs and the Brewers here before tomorrow night.
That's unbettable. But the fascinating thing is just what the Cubs have done in the first inning this series. Almost all of their runs have come in the first inning. And, look, it's only 4 games in terms of a sample size, but should we bet the Yerfy? Should we wait to bet the under? So, it's been hilarious that so many teams. I mean, the other night, you get a 3 spot in the top of the first. In the bottom half, you also get a 3 spot. So sometimes in live betting, you can bet draw on an inning, and that would have been a fun sweat in that regard. But I I thought the Brewers would handle their business. I was on them yesterday. I liked them in the series. So there's no need for me to get involved game 5, especially when you don't know who's pitching. Give the Cubbies credit. They flew the W and they got back into it. And I wonder if Milwaukee's going to turn into Wrigley Field North like it has over the years. But the Brewers are legit. And as a Dodger fan, I'm just sitting back waiting. Neither of these teams can hang with the Dodgers. And there's your Yerfy's odds.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've seen just remarkable offense in the first inning by the Cubs, and then really both teams, and they're sitting there minus 106, and we're not going to exactly have an ace on the bump. So it's tempting. It is really tempting, but we know we have to drill it into our heads. Don't bet what you last saw. Don't always bet what you last saw. But that is something that's in the back of my mind, and right, really in the front of my mind.
Yeah, and for me, it's that both the games in Milwaukee were 10+ runs scored in both of them. They really hit the ball, both teams, when they were up there for the first 2 games, and you've got some very questionable potential pitching going on in the game. So I like the Yerfy. It's been a good first inning run for both of these so far. All right, so Cubs Brewers winner will play the Dodgers, as Doug mentioned. I believe that game 1, Doug, will be for us Monday night. We will get that, which will be in Milwaukee if the Brewers win. And the Cubs would go to LA, right? Yeah, Cubs would go to LA if that's the situation on the other side. So lots of baseball playoffs for us this weekend, Betting Weekly Live. All right, NFL now. It is Friday. We talked about the Giants beating the Eagles last night. We've got a full slate for this weekend, Doug. We'll start with the injuries for this weekend because we do have a lot of important ones that we have to go through. There's still going to be no Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. I just saw Bowers is out for the Raiders. We've got Kyler Murray's questionable for Arizona. If you ever thought about dipping your toe in the water with them on Sunday, we got a lot of important injuries that we're going to have around the league this week.
He did practice today, so that was the one thing with Kyler Murray. Now, I know sharp money came in on Colts this week at -7. I would just be careful. We're waiting for the Colts to come back to earth. I stupidly thought it might happen last week with the Raiders, but the Colts absolutely embarrassed them. I just think at some point the Colts can't play like an all-world team every week, and Arizona's got enough firepower to hang around. This feels like a big number. But I think the Colts are clearly the better team. I think they're a very tempting survivor play if you're alive in some pools, money line parlay, teasers, all that stuff. But I wonder if the market's a little high on Indy, right? This is the peak of the market. So I think you just got to be careful. The Cardinals don't seem like a team that should be 7-point dogs to Indianapolis. That feels like a big number.
It does feel like a big number to me. And look, I kind of thought about going after the Colts last week. I didn't do it. Thankfully, I didn't because they smashed the Raiders. Like to think that Arizona has a little bit of a bounce back too with their embarrassing performance against Tennessee at home. But I'm with you. I think the Colts eventually got to come back to the middle a little bit. This is not going to go on forever. There's another injury for you. Purdy out. Ricky Pearsall out. It'll be Mac Jones again starting for the Niners in Tampa against the Bucs on Sunday. So no Purdy for the Niners, Doug.
Well, 3 is the most key number in the NFL, and I know sharp money earlier in the week came in on the Bucs -2.5, and I get it. Purdy being out doesn't do a lot for me. I think he's overpaid, overvalued, and a lot of quarterbacks are, so he's not alone. But I just who cares? I mean, I think Mac Jones is fine. It's about Kyle Shanahan being able to push the right buttons. The problem for me is also the Bucs. Just they're banged up as well. Godwin and some others. I think it's Bucks or pass, but at some point this Bucks team is going to stop delivering. But I was all about Seattle a week ago. That backfired. This Bucks team's for real. Baker Mayfield's in the NFL MVP conversation for sure. Bucks or pass for me.
All 4 wins, right, have come down to the end for the Bucs. They've won all these
Right,
games
right. That's another factor.
in
Yeah.
the end. So, that's something. If the Bucs get down a little bit too, they've shown some spunk in being in these games. Maybe there's a live spot for the Bucs, Doug, at some point if they got down early to the Niners, and you can get them at maybe a 3 or more than that, depending on how
Good
the
point.
game starts out. Next, let's go Sunday night. Big one on Sunday night. I like this. You get the Lions and the Chiefs. Chiefs off of a primetime loss in Jacksonville. Lions have really started to get the train rolling here. Baker will have his way with the Niners. You're probably right. The electrician there, Stephen. Probably right. Baker's had his way with pretty much everyone. That's like Doug said. That's why he's in there for the MVP right now in that top 5. Lions, Chiefs. Chiefs -2 at BetRivers. And how about this total, Doug? A 52 for Sunday Night Football. Oh, Tirico and the crew would love that. They got all that on Sunday night. Lots of points.
How do you not bet the over? Just with Detroit you throw out week 1, right? A lot of teams started kind of chunky in week 1, given the long layoff with the preseason, not putting a whole lot of performance and effort in there. Since the week 1, they've been outstanding, and they've really curbed their or curtailed their game plan to the opponent, like what they did to the Ravens on that Monday night. Here, they're in prime time. The Chiefs' offense looks like it's been unlocked again. I just feel like you kind of had it's over or pass. I think it's a great sort of lineup. I don't want to bet on golf outdoors, but this Lions team's been impressive. So it's Chiefs or pass. It's over or pass. Not quite ready to pull the trigger on the over just because it is what it is. It's a big number, but I think that's like, how do you not bet it, right?
I like the Chiefs, Doug, on Sunday night. Every time it seems like everyone's ready to say, all right, well, this is it for the Chiefs, and they won all these one-score games last year, and they're not going to do that again this year, especially when they're in their building. With this game being at Arrowhead, I think you get the step up here from not just Mahomes is there every week. Mahomes didn't play poorly, I thought, Monday night in Jacksonville. I think you get the complete step up. Lions have been a bit of a juggernaut so far, but I expect a big Chiefs performance, Doug. So I'm going to lay it with the Chiefs, especially under 3. Underneath that 3 right now at the 2.5. That's fine by me with Kansas City. So that's where I'm looking, Doug, for Sunday night in that game. Make sure if you like what you're watching, of course, sign up for our newsletter, Betting Weekly Studios. BetRivers.com for weekly betting tips and the entire newsletter. Make sure you get yourself involved there. And check out our other shows here, Betting Weekly Studios on the BetRivers Network. Released earlier today on the Betting Weekly Studios channel, Steve Wiss Betting Zoo. Lewis Jones joins the show to discuss the use of data and intuition in betting. So check that out, Betting Weekly Studios Network for us. All right, Browns and Steelers, Doug, we move to next in the NFL on Sunday. We talked a little bit about this game early in the week. Steelers coming off a bye. Now it's at -6. Totals under 40 at 38.5. The Browns are doing something, and I know they've got a good D, but I understand, Doug, why these teams now don't take their bye after London. But if you're not going to take your bye, I'd prefer like you're going to be at home, like playing a home game and not having to go back out on the road. I know that Cleveland and Pittsburgh is not flying to Seattle, but I am a little worried about Cleveland playing back-to-back road being in London.
And this is according to my sources, this is a big wager, a respected wager came in on the Steelers -5.5 earlier this week. It's a tempting survivor play. I just think the Steelers team's not very good. They've been outplayed in so many games that the win over the Patriots in Foxborough was super lucky. I think the Browns defense is really good. The problem is the offense. It's a lot of misdirection with Dylan Gabriel. How's Gabriel going to fare against the Steelers team? And Stefanski is no genius. He completely botched that game. He screwed up the timeouts, allowing the Vikings with Carson Wentz to dink and dunk. So while he was using those timeouts on defense, and he made the wrong play, couple play calls that could have iced the game for Cleveland. I would have loved the Steelers if the Browns were off a win. I lean to the dog in the points, but Steelers probably cover. It's just hard to bet into this line move because, as you said, Carver, the situation is horrendous with the travel from London and everything. And the Steelers should be good. And I think Aaron Rodgers he kind of looks the part enough that they should be pretty sharp off the bye.
I kind of lean to the under in this. I know it's a very low number at 38.5, but the game has that kind of like ugly feel to it. I think the Browns D will be able to muck it up with the Steelers. Not sure how much offense you'd get. It's a 16-13 type of game, right? I mean, I don't see both teams getting in the 20s, Doug. I think that under is kind of where I'm leaning for it.
I think that's a smart read. 17-6, 17-12, one of those games. And as we saw with the overseas game, was it Ireland? I get confused, but Steelers just played over there, and Tomlin just sat on the lead and built clock, punted. Vikings actually had the ball down 3, right? They had those touchdowns. They had the 2-point conversion late, so they got back into the game.
They certainly did. Speaking of London, because now we're in that time of the year where there's basically a game across the pond every single week. This week, the Broncos and the Jets will make their way over. Broncos off a big win in Philadelphia. That must have been a fun plane ride heading to London. The Jets, I was going to say arguably, Doug, but I'll just go and say it. They've been the worst team in the NFL this year. They just have. The Jets have been absolutely pathetic. You get this Broncos -7 now. Total 43.5, I believe. They are 44 now at BetRivers for the Broncos and the Jets. 9:30 a.m. East Sunday morning.
I was on the Jets last week, and look, they got the ball punched out inside the 5, and the Cowboys just shredded them. They have no turnovers through the first 5 games. I think it's like the first team in eons. It's really remarkable. So that the defense has no turnovers, I should specify. So Cowboys carved them up. I wonder I don't know if London's the answer, right? They went to Miami, lost. The Bucs game was dramatic, but they got lucky to get back in the game in the 4th. This team's been on the verge of wins. I like the Broncos here, and I like the Broncos in a money line parlay with a team like the Rams. I think the Rams are going to really show up off 10 days off after that disappointing loss on Thursday night to the shorthanded Niners. So I think the Broncos are the right side here. I think they're going to absolutely destroy the Jets. I think they can do whatever they want on offense and defense. I think it's going to be a one-sided game for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I like that putting the Broncos with somebody else, maybe even the Rams. I was going to bring those up a little rapid fire with a couple games maybe quickly that we haven't discussed this week. They're talking now a big nor'easter coming, and I guess Baltimore is going to get it earlier on Sunday than everybody else. The Jets are so bad. The Irish electrician says they sure are. They are absolutely awful. The Nor'easter's going to hit Baltimore, Doug, earlier in the day than kind of some of the other cities playing there on the East Coast. I'm with you on the Rams. They're much better than the Ravens with no Lamar Jackson and the problems they have on defense. Are you a little nervous about maybe some potential bad weather for the West Coast dome team like the Rams?
A little bit. I would like clear skies for sure, but they handled themselves pretty well against the Eagles last year in the playoffs with those obviously ridiculous conditions. I just think the Rams, like, they might be the best team in the league, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we know the Bills have issues. We know the Chiefs have issues. We know the Ravens have issues. The three teams we thought were the favorites coming in, and all these other teams. It could be the Lions, could be the Packers, could be the Chargers. I think the Rams offensively have a ton of weapons, and I think that just spells doom for this Ravens defense. So I'm on the Rams on this. Definitely a money line parlay, but I don't think they're going to mess around. I think that loss on a Thursday night makes them really favorable spot here. It's a big number on the road, but I think Cooper Rush stinks, and this Ravens defense definitely stinks.
One other one before we get to some player props, because this game has kind of caught my eye as the week has gone on, and I wanted to hear what you thought of it.
Mhm.
Seattle has been great on the road under McDonald. I think they've won 8 in a row on the road or something crazy like that. The Jaguars off a huge win on Monday night against the Chiefs. This is basically a pick 'em now, Doug. Seahawks and Jaguars, early window on Sunday. Big total 47 and a half also at BetRivers right now. Seahawks keep this going on the road. They've been so good in these spots.
Question. I see what you're saying. It's a great spot to fade the Jags. I don't know if Seattle's the team to do it, right? You got the
Mhm.
West Coast team going east, but you mentioned they've been sharp on the road. I like Seattle. I was on them last weekend, as I alluded to earlier. I'm just I just think it's still Darnold. It's still Darnold on the road. The Jags are like fine. Um, I'm torn. I go back and forth. I wonder if you can almost like will a Jags win here and then fade them in the next game because I like your thought process though. Are they professionally mature on a short week to come off that emotional win to take down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and then deliver against a Seahawks team that's off a loss? Seahawks are probably the right side the more I think about it, though.
I'm kind of with you too. I think the Seahawks are kind of where I'm angling as we get a little bit closer to Sunday. Some player props. You know, I like tutties. I like touchdowns, Doug, and that's where I like
Congratulations yesterday,
Goddard
too. You've
last
been on
night.
fire.
Goddard last night. We did get Brown Steelers total field goals over under 8.5. But that might, Petey, that might not be bad, Doug. Could be an over on that. You never know. Lots of field goals between the Browns and the Steelers when they get together. For me, for the tutties, now that I know that Mac Jones is playing on Sunday, I'm going Kendrick Bourne because the price for me, Doug, plus 260, 265 now at Bet Rivers. This has been the only guy Mac Jones is looking to when he's been in. He had 10 plus catches last week. That's too big of a number. He should be kind of priced, I feel, in the ones more as a top wide receiver this week. So plus 260. I like Tucker Kraft for Green Bay at plus 170. You already told I like a lot of points in that Packer Bengal game. And I think Jamison Williams finally finds the end zone for the Lions. He's had a quiet start. The Chiefs are good at stopping some of the top guys. Maybe they'll shut down St. Brown. You can't shut down everybody on the Lions. I think Jamison Williams finds a way maybe for a big one at plus 205.
Yeah, I can see it. The one I was eyeing, and you got to kind of play to your strengths, and props aren't usually my favorite. But how is I've been over on Flacco to start the year
Yeah.
when he was with the Browns, but now he's got a different offensive line, and he's facing Green Bay. How does he get over 207.5 yards? Now, I know the Bengals are 2 touchdown underdogs, and they should be throwing a bunch, but with that offensive line, how's he gonna do anything? I mean, he was 100 and change the first time he played them. I just look, again, they should be throwing a bunch trailing, but Zach Taylor's no wizard. So, I just wonder, like, how are they gonna get this done? I don't know. That came to mind, like, I could see him getting replaced in this game. You don't have to do much prep. He's already faced the Packers, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, the last time he faced him, he had 36 attempts and 142 passing yards.
Well, as we're going to
So,
get to,
so I'm on the under there.
When we get to the best bets, Doug, can he at least get me 14 to 17 points for that over in the Green Bay Cincinnati game? Can he get me 14 to 17 and help me
Don't
out?
hold your breath.
We shall see. There you go for NFL on Sunday. We'll do a couple more in the best bets at the end. BetRivers does have football squares. Got to get involved. Players who place a qualifying same-game parlay of at least $10 on eligible NFL or NCAA football games will receive one standard entry into the weekly squares game. Winning standard squares will be awarded a prize of a $20 bonus bet. See the app and the website for more details. BetRivers football squares. All right, Doug, let's go college now and talk about tonight, because there's actually one really spicy game on the menu this evening, and that is 24th ranked USF South Florida heading to North Texas to see the Mean Green. And right now, this has now gone to North Texas minus 2.5. Monster total 67.5. We know how South Florida has had a great start to their year. North Texas, Doug, 5-0. I was reading earlier, first sellout in school history. The place is all jacked up tonight. They think they've got a shot to be, the group of 5 representative in the college football playoff. Big scenes tonight at North Texas.
So that's the only side I would play, but the line has moved drastically. They were an underdog to start the week. This USF team, we all know that they upset at Boise State earlier in the season, but they've been feasting on bad competition like Charlotte a week ago and stuff. This is a step up in class from what they faced the last couple of weeks. And they got manhandled when they faced some big boys like Florida. I think the North Texas defense is a lot better than people realize. The South Florida offense is going to be in for a rude awakening, considering who they faced the last couple weeks. The secondary of the Mean Green is, in fact, mean. I think I'm under on this game. I think it's a little too high, especially when you have teams that understand the magnitude of this game. I don't think North Texas is just going to sling it around like Free Willy here. I think it's going to be. I think North Texas gets the win. But I think it's like a 34-24 game and something along those lines. I think we get an under. It's a great environment though. South Florida will run the ball too, so that's why I think that total is a little too high.
So this is one of those games, Doug, where I hate when people say things like I'm blind betting this or I'm blind bet, but I always love, and I have an infatuation with betting the unranked team favored at home over the ranked team. It's just something,
Sure.
Doug, when you're looking at the lines at the start of the week, or even you get closer to the game, you're like, well, the unranked team's favored. What is going on there? It always opens your eyes up a little bit, Doug. And now seeing North Texas go to 2.5, the radar just goes off for me. I got to play North Texas tonight. It's just one of those spots that I always gravitate to. And I did it with Cincinnati last week against Iowa State at home. They were the unranked team that was favored. It's just, do you like spots like that, Doug, when you see them pop up throughout the week?
Yeah, because the ranking is like a random number. Like, what is it? It's just a number, but the home team loves it. It's the crowd, the campus, and everything. The only caveat I would have to this is South Florida's not looking past their opponent. Typically, that's what would happen is when you have a ranked team facing an unranked team, that the unranked team is going to want it more or whatever. But no, the steam, you got to trust the steam. The late movement's usually the right move. This has all the makings of being on the right side.
The Crooked Chef with the Go Lions in there. Everyone, a lot of Lion love, Doug, for Sunday night, and Bears. Oh
There's a
my,
lot of Dan Campbell
a
love.
lot of Dan
I can understand
Campbell.
that.
Gotta have some of that. There is a couple other games tonight. Any interest in Rutgers going all the way across country into Seattle to see Washington, who's minus 10.5 at home? Another big total here, 61.5.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not catch your eye? This number's come down a little bit. I think it's a big number, but Rutgers' defense is terrible. I mean, really terrible pass. I think Washington's got some dudes on offense, and we didn't really see it against Ohio State, but I think it's bound to come out, and I think it's going to happen against this Rutgers D. And the travel in the Big Ten spots. I mean, Huskies were winless going east last year in the Big Ten. Teams have struggled coming the other way. They haven't quite figured it out. Maybe it's a little too far, and the time zone changes and all that. I think for me, it's Washington or pass. And also, they should run all over this Greg Schiano defense. I think the Rutgers Scarlet Knights can score a little bit. I've been a little disappointed with Jed Fish. That's why I'm reluctant to just blindly lay it because the Rutgers has some, I don't know, explosive spurtability, as Clark Kellogg would say. I just think it's going to land right around the number, both the side and total. But be careful grabbing any points and be careful on the under.
We covered a lot of the big games this week on the show for Saturday. There was two that I kind of ran across earlier that we didn't mention, and I wanted to get your thoughts on. First one, another long trip, as we were mentioning, Big Ten. Michigan going to USC. Under the lights, Saturday. Well, it won't be under 4:30 out there local, but 7:30 East. Minus 2.5 for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans, and a flat 56. Kind of like USC here, believe it or not, Doug.
I do too. Couple things here. I know some sharp money came in on the Wolverines +3, so that's what's keeping the market at 2.5. But I strongly disagree. I do think there's the script where Michigan's going to want to bleed clock because they should run all over this defense. Now, Trojans are off a bye. Their defense is better. I think they're getting a guy back as well. So I think they should be their version of stout, but Michigan can run the ball pretty effectively. The problem is this game could get away from the maize and blue. If Lincoln Riley and company score first, they make the best offense in the country. And I think this Michigan team is pretty can get carved up by this USC offense. USC did not look good going to Illinois, but they had food poisoning and things like that. Didn't look good going to Purdue, but that was an early, I think, start, and that was definitely an early start in Illinois. I think the situation favors the Trojans big time. Now, there is a game script where Michigan bleeds clock and things like that, and the Trojans come up short, and Michigan just overwhelms the rush defense, and they control the pace. But I think that's asking a lot with a freshman quarterback who's only thrown for 100 yards and change in his 2 road starts. Nothing impressive against Nebraska, nothing impressive against Oklahoma. I think USC should be too much firepower. I like the over and the Trojans though as well, but 56 might be too low.
And the other one I want to throw at you. Any interest in Florida off a big win, catching 7.5 in College Station against the Aggies?
Yeah, it just shows you how much better the spot and the line was last week, right? At home, off a bye against a Texas team, and then now you have a similar spread. I can't get involved. It's the only side I would play, but I would maybe look to Texas A&M in a money line parlay, something like that. But Wilson's back for the Gators. He's NFL ready almost. Lagway looked a lot better, but that game was at the Swamp. This one on the road. I would only take the dog and the points, but I don't see Florida winning outright like last week.
No, I do not either. There you go. Big college football Saturday that we have for you coming up. A little WNBA now. And I know, the other night we had the Mercury fall short in game number 3. They're down 3-0 now, with the Aces having the opportunity tonight to shut the door on the WNBA championship. Right now, hoping W game 4 is addressed. Oh, it's getting addressed, Petey. Right now, baby. We got you right now, Petey. Let's go. Aces at Mercury, Doug. Game number 4. Right now, minus 2.5 for the Aces at BetRivers and 164 the total.
Yeah, it's lined open 3.5 right after game 3, and it got bet down right away. And it's the right move. Now, keep in mind, Satu Sabali, an all-star for the Mercury, is going to miss this game with a concussion. She left the last game in the end. And that's big. But, Phoenix has played shorthanded at times this year. I just think it's really tough for the Aces to get up and deliver in this game. So I lean Mercury here. I do think their pride's on the line and they will rise to the occasion. But the Aces are the class of the league, right? This is about to be their third title in the last 4 years. And it's really impressive what they've done mid-season. They were like 500 team, and then they could go and finish the regular season with 16 straight wins. I would bet Kalea Copper as a prop. So 2+ made threes. So at least 2 made threes at now minus 205. Not overnight, it was minus 167. She's had about 7 attempts. Excuse me. She's had about 7 attempts in every game in this series. And with Sabali going down, Copper's the one that led the comeback. They were down double digits in the fourth quarter, about midway through, and she flipped the switch. She is the most athletic player in this game, maybe the league. It pops off the screen. She shoots a real jump shot. So even if she's guarding the perimeter, she'll shoot with someone in their face because she can land because of the rules. And then also she can just jump over any shot blocker. She will make 2 made threes. I think this is a banger.
And if the Mercury do get it done tonight, Doug, they would play game 5, game 4, 5, excuse me, on Sunday. That's afternoon, 3 o'clock East, back in Vegas, where the Aces would get the chance to close them out at home. Maybe we get, and then they get a few days. They get back to the middle of next week, Doug, if Mercury's able to win a couple games here. So you just want to extend that season out a little bit. Maybe get a couple Mercury wins over here on the next couple nights.
I mean, game 1 the Phoenix led the entire way.
Yeah.
Phoenix was in control that entire game. And then yes, game 3 the score was a little misleading, but the Mercury played very poorly for a lot of the games. So this series should be 2-1, I think, because of game 1, but I think we could have a sweep here. It's disappointing, but the Aces are really good. The Aces are really good. I would say also to keep in mind, whenever you have a 3-0 series, and this goes for the NBA as well, you want to lean into variance because you just don't know how that team's going to show up, the team that's trailing 0-3. So there's some fun markets you can do. I know at BetRivers you have the top point scorer.
Yep.
Asia Wilson, understandably, is going to be the favorite. She was in the last game, $1.90. But you could have some crazy situations like variance. Like I said, lean into the variance. Like Jewel Lloyd at 40-1, not the worst bet in the world. She started game 3 making 4 threes in the first quarter, and then she went kind of quiet. But if maybe it's a blowout or something like that, and then the bench players, this could be one of those games where you lean into the variance. Maybe Jackie Young goes off as well. She could be a nice option. She's plus 550. So these are things to keep in mind. Copper's plus 550. So anytime there's an unusual series score like 3-0, that's when I lean into the variance and look to find some crazy odds.
Well, I saw a lot of our crew there in the chat box. They're going to be with you tonight, Doug. They're tailing you tonight on this, and I will be with you as well.
Copper has to show up.
Copper
has to deliver here.
Let's get Copper. How about I'm going to put that? I'm going to have some fun on a Friday night, Doug. I'm going to put that Copper threes with the Scooble 20.5 outs. I'm going to have a little crazy Friday night. Let's go and do it. Speaking of NBA, Las Vegas season turnaround is incredible. NBA, we talked about the LeBron start to the season injury yesterday. We had that breaking news while we were doing Betting Weekly Live, out 3 to 4 weeks. Laker win total for the season, Doug, still now at 47.5 at BetRivers, plus 105 to the over. Anything you're looking at here season-wise with the Lakers now that LeBron's going to be missing the first couple of weeks?
I agree with the adjustment, and I agree with the juice. Minus 139 on the under. Luka's supposedly in fantastic physical shape, right? We saw the pictures of him. He's looked the part. He got his extension. LeBron should be fine. He is a cyborg, although maybe this injury is the first of many signs that he's finally slowing down. He'll be 41 in December. I have to play the under or pass. The West is deep as can be. The Nuggets are better with the offseason moves they've made. The Clippers, the analytics love the Clippers as in terms of a regular season team, barring the Steve Ballmer distraction potentially. And then obviously the Thunder are an absolute beast. The T-Wolves should be better. Warriors should be better, adding Horford. I just don't see how they get that many wins. I mean, I know they were a win or two away from the 2 seed last year, but I think the West, dare I say, is better than it was last year. And this LeBron injury, I mean, say what you will about everything. He's still pretty good, man. He's still like the 25th best player or so. So the Lakers last year won 50 games. I mean, the Rockets are better, maybe the Grizzlies, although they traded some pieces. Give me the under. I just don't see it. I know Luka's fantastic, but he still doesn't play a lot of defense, and I'm not sold on DeAndre Ayton. So I know the Amish electrician thinks LeBron needs to go away. Well, he's definitely going away from the Lakers after this season, but I'd play under there.
Yeah, he's going away at some point. This isn't going to go. This isn't going to go on forever. But it is interesting, and that's like a more wide-ranging conversation we'd have. Is would he play somewhere else after this year? Because you're right. He ain't going to be back with the Lakers after this year. This is becoming Luka's team now moving forward. We do have NBA preseason this evening. 4 games, Doug. Celtics are in Toronto. Magic are in Philly. Jazz are in San Antonio against the Spurs. The Kings are in Portland against the Blazers. And we had an absolute banger this afternoon in China between the Nets and the Suns, which was like an overtime game. where the Nets covered, I believe, that 5.5.
Yeah, if you can't play overtime in the preseason, why are you even showing up, right? Uh, it's not like the NFL where they'll do anything to avoid it. Couple games I like. Um, let's start with the Blazers. I think betting the preseason, you want to bet teams that are really sort of on the incline in terms of their vision, their hopes, their excitement, and that's why we've been on the Bulls a couple times. They're 2-0 in this preseason. I think the Blazers meet that. I liked them obviously overnight, -1 a little better, but I think -3. This is a team that has some serious sort of desire to make the playoffs, make a run, at least the play in this year. I think there's a lot to like with the Blazers team. I'd lay it with the Kings. Kings are sort of in a transition period. Blazers, again, a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement for them right now. And the Celtics, right? They're sort of out to prove it for themselves. Who knows? Maybe invigorated with some pictures and images and attendance of Jason Tatum in practice, not playing, but just hanging around. You never know. He could return this season. I think this total's a little too low. The Celtics want to run and gun. Um, it's a big number, but I think we're going to go over. I think the Raptors can score it with them as well. So yeah, the Boston, renowned defense that they had that with Ime Doka in the last couple of years that got into the finals and stuff like that. I think that's long gone. I think this is an offensive minded team, so I think we're going to see some points.
Yeah, and I know tomorrow you do get the finals rematch with OKC and Indiana. They are playing tomorrow night at 7 East, so that's on a Saturday for us, Doug.
Yeah, you'd think the Pacers are going to want to cover, right? Having been eliminated, but
Right.
I don't know. The Thunder are so deep, so I think that could be a banger on the over. To be honest, I think that second unit of OKC can score at will. Indiana's going to want to push. They're trying to figure out their point guard situation. They're not going to change their offense with the Halliburton injury. They're going to play the same way. They led the league in scoring each of the past 2 years. So I'm all about the Pacers over in that game tomorrow.
I was going to do some NHL, Doug, but guess what? I don't know why. I guess we'd have to ask Gary Bettman. You open the season, you've had a couple good nights of hockey, and let's just take Friday night off. We don't need any games tonight, Doug. So
Wow.
no
Well,
NHL games on a
who
Friday
wants to
night.
go up? Who wants to go up against the game 4 of the WNBA finals and
That
then the mean
that's
green
it.
in football? That's
That's
what it
it.
is.
And we did okay again last night, 2-1. Although
Yeah.
I was stunned how many goals were scored in the Dallas Winnipeg game. Stunned
How'd you
how
do on your best bet? Because you hadn't lost all week,
the best
and then
bets
we didn't want to jinx it.
finally went down. I jinxed
All
it
right,
at
good.
the
We
end.
gotta
I
get it out
finally
of the
went
way.
down.
Let's
Get
get
it
it
out
out
of
of
the
the way.
way, and that's what happens sometimes. Go Leafs, go. The Leafs are playing the Red Wings on Saturday night. That is one that I do kind of like the over in. And you got two West Coast playing a 1:30 East game tomorrow with the Kings and the Jets. That's what we call Doug and under.
Oh,
Early afternoon game with the Kings and the Jets. Still start of the season. I hate Doug afternoon NHL games. These guys are such creatures of habit. The morning skate, the afternoon nap. I can't stand when they play afternoon games. I always like betting the under. Got that 40-1 game leader in. I love those bets. There you go. Steve from Lynn is with you, Doug, tonight in the
all right.
W
I like it.
for game
Why
number
not?
4. So there you go. Hockey, 16 games on Saturday. Everybody's in action. Plenty to look at there. Let's do some best bets. You brought up best bets. Well, let's get some here going into the weekend. I've got 2 for you for the football this weekend. Number 1, I love Georgia on Saturday night against Auburn. I think it's a smash spot. I don't see Jackson Arnold beating Georgia. I don't see him really coming close. I think it's actually a touchdown plus win for Kirby Smart, who's had his bump in the road a couple of weeks ago against Alabama. So I love Georgia there. And yes, Doug, I'm going to try it. The over with, I know that with Flacco being in there, it changes some things up a little bit, but over 44.5. Cincinnati and Green Bay is the NFL best bet for me late Sunday afternoon.
Why the over? Why the over?
I believe the Packers are good for 31-35. I think that they
Yeah.
will. The Bengal defense is so bad. Packers
Yeah.
off a bye. LaFleur will have the offense humming with Jordan Love. Maybe I get more than that, but I think minimum 31-35. I just need a couple of touchdowns out of those Bengals. Just a couple. Even garbage time, Doug, whatever you got to give me. Late in the game, they're down 27. Let's get some relaxed D. I think we can clear this 45. Let's do it.
All right. They've kind of quit at times, but maybe having Flacco come in helps them. They did show up a little bit against the Lions. I will say that. The previous 2 performances they quit.
No, they did.
But this Bengals team's in trouble, but you know what? They give up a lot of points, so I can see
Yeah.
that. So interesting on the dogs. I'm on the other side there with the points.
Okay.
Uh, I just feel it's kind of like circle the wagons like the Gators did last week, right? This is a big game for Auburn on the Plains at Jordan Hare. So I just don't trust this Georgia defense as much as I used to in recent years.
I'm going to throw the Scooble tonight in as well in the best bet pile. The over 20.5 outs for Scooble in that. As more
I
as
like
we've
that.
talked about that more and more, Doug, I love it more and more. So I'm going to that too. What about
We'll
you?
throw 110 pitches if need be as well.
Yes. Give me some best bets for the
So
weekend.
I'm gonna keep it on a Friday for the parlay. I'm gonna do Kalea Copper, but that's a big number, 2+3. So I'm gonna add Washington Huskies money line on that one. So if you add those two together, it's a minus 120 parlay. So Copper, 2+ made threes tonight, and you go from minus 205 to minus 120 if the Huskies you add that money line to the play. I do think it's too much to ask the Rutgers to go into that Husky Stadium, which is a tough place to play, and get it done. So I'm on Copper with 2+ made 3-pointers. Now, other games I like in the weekend, just saying, be careful because it's going to be the ugliest game. It's the two worst teams in FBS, or sorry, in the entire football. But Kent State -2 over UMass. I think this line should have been like 5.
All right.
So I like that as well. I like Kent State. That they have the advantage at quarterback. UMass doesn't even know who they have. They have freshmen. They're on their third string. They're on the road. Kent State's the better team. I'll lay the 2.5 with the Golden Flashes.
See, Doug, we could go from the highest of highs, the
Yeah.
Georgias and all these games, and then you still got it. All these games, Doug, you can make money in. Doesn't matter if it's the best game on the card or the least talked about game on the card. There's always a ticket to be won, and in Kent State and UMass, there is as well. What about Bama? Finish it off with Bama for me.
So this is a really tough scheduling spot for Alabama, right? Big game last week. They got the revenge against Diego Pavia, who was taking victory formation snaps on the sideline at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Then they got a big game next week, and sandwiched in between, they got to go to Missouri, who hasn't left the state this season. And they're off a bye, and they're off a game against UMass, so they're really off 3 straight weeks. I think that Missouri's the right side, +3, 3.5, but I think the over. I think Missouri's going to be able to run all over this Alabama defense. Mizzou's got a really good offense. I just don't think Mizzou can stop anybody passing. They got a good run defense. Now they haven't played anyone, so we'll see if they have anything. But I think Alabama can sling it around. Simpson's been solid. This is a low total.
Yeah.
51.5 is a low number. Don't forget, Vandy moved the ball, then just had the stupid turnover on the punch out. They were looking to go up 14 or 10-0. And Bama, I like them. This is a good spot for both offenses to just let it rip. I think this might be my favorite play of the weekend, to be honest. I think this number should have been like 55.5 kind of thing, 56.5.
All right, there you go. Over 51.5 with Bama and Mizzou. That is an early kick, too. That's the noon East kick for those two early window in college football. Doug, tremendous week. Great first week
Yeah,
for us here on Betting Weekly Live. We've had a lot of fun. And the good news is, Doug, we're back at it on Monday, baby. We're back at it on Monday.
sure are. And this is everything. We cover everything for you. So we got
Yep.
it all condensed and can let it rip. And you know what? Let's finally hopefully I can get a best bet winner.
I think you're going to get one tonight. I think you're going to get multiple ones tonight. How about that? We got 2 Monday night football games on Monday. We have got definitely 2 baseball games, right? Because we'll be on, actually. They're going to do game 2 ALCS when we come on, and then game 1 NLCS later in the night. There'll be lots of hoops and hockey as well. Betting Weekly Live right here, Betting Weekly Studios, BetRivers Network. Thank you, Steve. There you go. Thanks, guys. Good luck. Love the new format. We love it as well. We will see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend. Mike Carver, Doug Kazarian, Betting Weekly Live. See you then.